What is up, guys? This is the Epic Gamer Boy here, and today we're going to be doing a full device collection of February 2025. So, without further ado, let's get started. So this time we're going to be doing something different here today. I this time I laid all my devices down onto like this carpet here because I do have some like house arrangements over these months, and yes, it has been a while since I did a full device collection video, and yeah. Hopefully hopefully the quality for this video turns out to go good, and yeah. So before we get started, here's something I want to like tell you guys. So the ones with these magnets on them are to like mark the ones that I have issues, because a lot of like the older like devices I have like so many of them. So without further ado, let's get started. First up, we have is a iPhone 3G. This one is 8GB, missing a SIM tray, fully working. And I got this phone originally untested for only $3, and it turns out to be fully working, and it has like a bunch of stuff on it, so that's cool. Next up, we have is a white iPhone 3G. I'm sorry if the camera gets shaky. I do apologize if the camera gets shaky for this video, because yeah, here's a white iPhone 3G. It is 16GB, works fully good with no issues. I think the mute switch on this is a bit iffy, but other than that, it fully works, and also has a bunch of old apps and games on it and stuff. Next up, we have is a iPhone 3GS. Now this here is 8GB. 8GB mint condition, fully works. The only problem with this is that the battery on this thing dies extremely fast. Like whenever I charge this to 100%, it would actually die if I were to like either play games or listen to music on this thing. And yeah, I mean, it kind of sucks that this one has a bad battery, because this one's in like really mint condition. Next up, we have is another iPhone 3GS. Now this one here is 16GB, works fully good with no issues. Actually, this is actually one of my first Target bin finds in a long time. Not the very first one, but I would say my first one in a long time, because back in 2023 I've been doing Target bins a lot, and my very first find was an iPhone 8 Plus in like mid 2022, and then there has been like a lot of like months apart where I haven't been to Target. So yeah, overall very nice. This is my main 3GS and even my first iPhone 3GS. It originally had a swollen battery when I found it at the Target bin, but my friend replaced the battery on this for me, and it works fully great with no issues. And next up, we have is a white iPhone 3GS. Now, yeah, this one has old stuff on it. This one here, 16GB, has old stuff on it, and it has a nice Miku case, because I actually bought this Hatsu Miku case off of Mercari, and actually fits really nice, as you can see. Very nice case. And next up we have is another iPhone 3GS. This one's 16GB, black. Now this one here has issues, because this one here I originally got this thing untested, and this phone here would not hold a charge, and it would flash the Apple logo, then like goes out and so on, and when I unplug it, it just shuts off immediately. So that's sad, but it happens for like especially a 3G or 3GS that's like untested. And yeah, like I said, these magnets on them are to like mark the ones that have issues, and this one actually does. So next up, we have is a iPhone 4 GSM here. I believe this one's 16 or 8GB. I have so many of them. But yeah, works fully good with no issues. Next up, we have a white CDMA iPhone 4. I actually do have a white CDMA iPhone 4 box that I believe came with one of these. I think it was this one, because this one here is in really mint condition. And I think the one that I think this one here, in like really mint condition. I got this one from one of my dad's friends in 2022. Yeah, Also, like I said, if you see my camera like a bit shaking, then I'm so sorry. All right, so I forgot to like set, I forgot to show like the phone that I'm currently recording on. Wait, hold on a second. So the phone that I'm So as you guys can see, I'm trying to cover up my information and stuff. So the phone I'm recording on is a iPhone 13 Pro. Wait, hold on. So the phone you can see that I'm recording on is a iPhone 13 Pro. As you can see, 256 gigabytes, silver color, and has 87% battery health. Okay, okay, sorry about that, guys. I had to like show that so that I don't forget. Because over the past of me doing like phone collections like these, I have forgotten to show off the phone that I'm recording on. So yeah. So this iPhone 4 here is, I believe, came with a box that I have, since it's only really mint condition. And yeah. Next up we have is another GSM iPhone 4. This one I got it from like a untested phone lot. As you can see, it works fully good with no issues. It does have a little ding right here, but other than that, it works fully fine. I think this one's like 8 gigabyte. I think. Next up we have is another GSM white iPhone 4. I think a lot of like the white ones I had since like 2022 or something. But yeah, this one is white, fully working with no issues. Next up we have is a CDMA white iPhone 4. Now I believe, okay, so wait, maybe this one here 16 gigs, 8 gigs, 8 gigs, 8 gigs, and this one here is another white CDMA iPhone 4. I think this one here is also from an untested phone lot or something. And then we have this one. Yeah, I think some of these I had since 2022. I kind of forgot since I have like so many iPhone 4s and 4Ss. And then there's this one here, which is a CDMA black one. Fully works with no issues. Maybe, I think this one's 16 or 8 gigs. Yeah, I think a lot of these I have are like 8 gigabytes, but if I remember correctly, some of these are 16 or something. Next up we have is another GSM iPhone 4. Now this one I got with a bunch of like smashing phones from my friend recently. And this one shows no signs of life when I plugged it in. I did try to like open it up to see if there's like any water damage, but it just shows no signs of life, and that's why it has issues. No signs of power for this one. All right, so now we're on to like the iPhone 4Ss. So first up we have is a black iPhone 4S. This one here, 32. Okay, this one here I remember. It's 32 gigabyte. Wait, does it have power? Nope, it's dead. So this one here is 32 gigabyte black, works fully good with no issues. Now here we have is a white iPhone 4S, 16 gigabyte, works fully good with no issues. Next up we have is another iPhone 4S. Now this one I actually got here recently. This one I got for like $9 untested, and it actually turns out to fully work. So that's a lucky find for getting a phone that it is originally untested. Now, what untested means is that untested means it may work or may not work, but this one surprisingly worked and works fully good with no issues. So yeah, also this one's 8 GB. Next up we have is another iPhone 4S. This one works fully good with no issues. This one actually has a stuck power button. I got this on Macquarie for like $8, and it was already on iOS 8.3, but I had to restore it to iOS 9 because this phone like froze crazy on me, which I don't know why. Maybe it must be an issue of signing to iCloud on iOS 8. Next up we have is another iPhone 4S white. Now this one here, I put a magnet on because this one here, it actually does fully work, but this one here is iCloud locked, but well, I don't really care of it being iCloud locked. I have so many 4Ss, fully working 4Ss anyways. But yeah, this one here is iCloud locked. Next up, we have is a iPhone 5. 16 gigabyte. Yeah, 16 gigabyte, works fully good with no issues. Next, in this nice blue OtterBox case. Next up, we have is another iPhone 5, slate black. Works fully good with no issues. 16 gigabyte as well. Now, next up, we have is another iPhone 5. Now, this iPhone 5 is actually pretty cool because this is a demo unit iPhone 5 on iOS 6. I found this in the Target bin. Like back in October, and it has like demo stuff on it, which is really cool. And it's also in like absolute mint condition as well. So this one here is really nice. Wait, I forgot to flip these over so that I don't forget where I left off. Okay, so I've already showed these already, as you can see. And yeah. Next up we have, okay, yeah, I already showed that already. This is a demo unit iPhone 5, and these two are regular, normal iPhone 5s. Next up we have is a custom blue iPhone 5 with a gold screen that is a little bit cracked. Now this phone here works fully good with no issues. Custom blue. This is actually one of my favorite phones in my collection. Custom blue iPhone 5, 16 gigabyte. Works fully good with no issues. And yeah. Very nice. Very nice to have. Alright, so now we're on to like the 5Cs now. So here we have the white iPhone 5C, works fully good with no issues. 32 gigabyte, I believe. Next up we have the blue iPhone 5C, works fully good with no issues. Also 32 gigabyte, I believe. Fun fact, the case I have on here, I got it at like Marshall like a few years ago. Now this one here actually came with this blue case when I got it. Next up we have is a pink iPhone 5C. Works fully good with no issues. Yeah, I think the ones that I had them for about like 2 or 3 years are like stone dead by now because I haven't touched them in ages. Next up we have is a yellow iPhone 5C. This one here was originally white, but my friend like put this into like a yellow housing because I wanted a yellow 5C so bad. Maybe in the future I might try to get a green 5C and have all the colors. And next up we have is this iPhone 5C. Now this one here, wait. Oh wait, okay, I know what this one is. This one here has a bad LCD and it's FMI on. So yeah, iCloud lock and FMI on. I haven't really tested it that much because this one here has a bad LCD, and yeah. And now, all right. So next up, iPhone 5s. So here I have a silver 16 gigabyte iPhone 5s, fully works with no issues. I had this one since 2022 actually, because I did remember bringing this to New York with me, like in the summer of 2022. Next up we have is a space gray iPhone 5s, 16 gigabyte, works fully good with no issues. Next up we have is another iPhone 5s. This one here is 32 gigabytes. works fully good with no issues. I think this one's running iOS 10 or something. I remember because I got this like during Christmas time. It's in this nice looking case. And here we have is another iPhone 5S. Now this one here is 32GB, works fully good with no issues. And next up we have is another iPhone 5S. Now this one here is pretty cool because this one here is 64GB and it's in this nice spec looking case, which is pretty nice. And next up we have is this iPhone 5S, which has a dent on the back. This one here is iCloud locked and I took this apart, so yeah, the screen on this thing was originally extremely cracked to the point that it would actually cut me, so that's why I took it apart like that. Next up we have is a iPhone 6, 64GB, works fully good with no issues. Okay, now we're gonna get into like the battery health. So battery health on this one is 86, I believe. Yeah, 86. Next up we have is a iPhone 6 Plus. Now this iPhone 6 Plus is very special because this is a Chinese model iPhone 6 Plus, because this phone here was my grandpa's old phone, and yeah, it's nice to have one of this. It's only 16GB, but it's still pretty cool that it's a Chinese model, and it is pretty special because this phone is my grandpa's old phone. And yeah, it has a nice case of a pop socket on it. Okay, so now, next up, here we have is another iPhone 6 Plus. Now, this one here is also iCloud locked. This one here is also iCloud locked, and it's in like really beat up condition. But as I was making this video, I didn't notice the battery on this thing started to get puffed. I have no clue why it's starting to get puffed like this, because I don't think the battery was like this before when I first took it apart. I mean, the screen on this thing was originally cracked like the 5S, and that's why I took it apart. But since it's iCloud locked, I don't really care for it too much. Next up we have is the iPhone 6S, 64GB. This phone works fully good with no issues. Also, this phone, one thing about this phone is that it has an aftermarket screen. One thing of aftermarket screen is that if it's like a really bad aftermarket screen, then those can actually break easily. Like I've had phones with aftermarket screens like cracked on me from like a little high drop, or even like off like one of those chairs with it. What? A ping pong table, for example. And yeah, besides the aftermarket screen, this phone fully works. Next up we have is this iPhone 6S. Now, fun fact, so this iPhone 6S here, I had this phone since like 2022 actually. Now last year, I think during August or September, I actually let my brother use this phone for a while since he needed a phone for school, and I don't know what phone I could actually give him. So I gave him this phone, and he's dropped this phone in water like about 2 or 3 times, to the point that this phone got completely water damaged, and even the screen got water damage. So this screen is originally onto this phone, but I took it apart myself once he fully gave it to me after getting this phone water damaged again. And as you can see, the indicator here is red. Now I put the screen onto like this 6S because this phone I got it in like a lot, along with like a bunch of these other devices. I have like parts here laying. Now this one here. Now the screen was working on this iPhone 6S for a while, until the screen started to freak out and go black again. Because the reason why is because this screen is like water damage anyways. Like ever since the first time I saw my brother dropping this into water, I see like some red looking lines appearing on the screen, and it did still appear when I put it onto this phone, but it did appear when I put it onto this phone, and it was like working fine to the point that I can see like what stuff is on this phone. Because fun fact, this phone here is originally on. Now this phone here is actually really cool because this phone here is on iOS 10 and has the original Flappy Bird and but it has an iCloud account, and I don't think there's a way to get which can still be iCloud locked. Okay, so this phone, fun fact about this phone here is on iOS 10, has the original Flappy Bird on it, but it has the iCloud account, unfortunately, so I can't reset the phone on this, unfortunately. So that's that. But I put the screen from this to here because I want to see what's on it. Because the screen that originally came onto this was a black screen because this phone is space gray, but the original screen that came on this thing had a very bad LCD, and I just wanted to see what's on this phone, just like I want to see what's on this phone. Because even though this phone is FMI on, I wasn't able to fully test it or see what's on it because bad LCD. So yeah. So my plan was to get a new screen for the 6S to see if anything would. To see if my plan was to get a new screen for this iPhone 6S to see what's on it. To see if I can actually get it to work again, and maybe I'll still keep this phone. I mean, I'm still gonna keep this phone with me because this phone is on iOS 10 and has the original Flappy Bird. And yeah, that's that. Now, yeah, I think this phone is getting kind of special because this one I had it since 2022. I gave this to my friend's a great gamer for a while, and he gave it to me back like last year around April or something. And then yeah, he actually did replace the battery on this thing because back in 2022 when I first got this thing, the battery health was 74, but after replacing the battery, it's at 90. The battery health is at, I believe, 97 or something. But the last time I checked on this phone was at 92, and the battery health on this thing may have dropped again since the last time I checked, because my brother still used it until he dropped the phone in water again. So yeah, hopefully I can get this one fixed because this phone is getting kind of special since I had it since 2022. And next up, you have the iPhone 6s Plus, 64 gigabyte. Okay, so for the storage for this thing, this one, I did check the storage on this thing, even though it has an iCloud account on iOS 10. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, this one has a very bad Taptic engine, to the point that I took off the Taptic engine because the Taptic engine on this thing sounded so awful when I put the screen on this thing to see what's on it and stuff. So yeah, this one here is 16 gigs, 64, and yeah. So this 6S Plus here is 64 gigabyte, works fully good with no issues. Fun fact, this phone here has 100% battery health, and actually surprisingly lasts long, because a lot of 6S Pluses I have, including the ones with 100% battery health, have bad batteries on them. I think this one here has 100% battery health, but this one has a bad battery. This one here has a bad battery, and yeah. Okay, moving on. Here we have the iPhone SE first gen, 64 gigabyte, works fully good with no issues. Next up, we have another iPhone SE first gen, 64 gigabyte, works fully good with no issues. Rose gold, silver. And next up, we have an iPhone SE first gen. I think this one here is 16. This one here is actually 16 gigabyte because I got this recently. 16 gigabyte, works fully good with no issues. And then here I have another iPhone SE first gen. Now this one here is iCloud locked and missing a SIM tray, and which is unfortunate, but it's 16 gigabytes anyways. But since it's 16 gigabytes for this one, it doesn't really matter of this one being iCloud locked. I already have 3 fully working ones. Next up, you have the iPhone 7, 128 gigabyte, product red, works fully good with no issues. This one here is 128 gigabyte. I mean, this one here has 100% battery health. Also, fun fact, this phone unfortunately has a bad board because whenever I try to use this phone, it keeps going stone dead on me, and whenever I wanting to use this phone, it keeps going stone dead on me, and I have to charge it every time. And I mean, I had this problem happen with my previous 7 Plus, with my previous red 7 Plus, which was the 256 gigabyte one, and I also had that happen with my old 8 Plus I had from 2020. I mean, yeah. Next up, we have another red iPhone 7. This one here, also 128 gigabyte. This one here has 93% battery health, I believe. Yeah, that one has 100% battery health, but it has a bad board. This one here is 128 gigabyte, but yeah, but this one here. Okay, so this one here is actually fully working. The reason why I got this one is because this one here has a bad board in it, and yeah, this one actually does fully work. As you can see, I don't know why, but I feel like a lot of the red iPhone 7 and 7 Pluses I sometimes get can have bad boards in them, to the point that they just easily go where the battery would drain on them pretty fast, and whenever you want to use them, they would go stone dead. Yeah. One thing about this phone is that this phone is a bit scratched through the red paint. I can actually take off the case to show you. As you can see, this one is pretty much scratched on the back comparing to this one. This one here is in mint condition. So yeah. Next up, we have a jet black iPhone 7. Now, this phone here is in fact iCloud locked because I got it with a bunch of some other parts phones. Now this phone here has a bad board because when I tested this phone, it keeps getting stuck on the Apple logos and turns off, and it just simply boot loops. And yeah, but I mean, I do like the jet black iPhone 7, but the logic board in this phone is iCloud locked, and it's also very bad to the point that it will get stuck on the Apple logo endlessly, and until the phone either dies or something like that. It's basically a bad NAND or something. Next up, we have the rose gold iPhone 7. Now this one here actually works when I put the screen from this one here. Also, the screen on this one was originally very cracked, and the screen on this one was less cracked. But when I put the screen from this one off to this one, the screen on this one cracked because I did something to crack it. And then when I put it onto this one, it does work. Now both of these are FMI on, but I do notice that both of these are on iOS 11 or 12 from the way how I flick the mute switch, or the icon when I flick the mute switch. And next up, we have the iPhone 7 Plus. Also, I don't know what I'm gonna do with the same thing with the 5S and 6 Plus housing. Okay, so this phone here. Alright, so this phone here works fully good with no issues. So yeah, oh, by the way, my previous red iPhone 7 Plus was a 256 gigabyte one, but that one had a bad board like this 7. So I then got it replaced by getting this one here. Except this one here is 128 gigabyte, but it fully works. Next up, we have a iPhone 8. I believe we're into. Also, yes, this video is going to be a very long one, so hopefully. Alright, so next up we have is a iPhone 8. Now this one here is 256 gigabyte. Fun fact, I had this phone since June of 2021, and yeah, it's a really nice phone, and yeah, it's in this nice, cool looking glittery case. Next up we have is another iPhone 8. Oh, by the way, I think I forgot to say the battery health on some of these I showed off. I did say the battery window. So this one here, 83, 83, 6, 87 for this one, 100 for bad board, 93 unknown for these, because I mean, I'm not gonna bother messing with these since these two are FMI on anyways. Okay, so this one here is, I think this one here is 89, I believe. 78 for this 8. I think, so I had this, so yeah, this iPhone 8 here, I had it for almost how, 3 years? I had it for like about 3 years, almost 4 by the summer of this year, so yeah, really nice to have. Next up we have is a iPhone, is another iPhone 8. Now this one here is 64 gigabyte, battery health is 87. This phone I found in the Target bin like last year in March, when like the day after I got back from China. Now I did manage to fix this myself, but the only thing the only thing that about this phone is that the home button doesn't work, because I didn't put the original home button on, but other than that it works. And the next up we have is this iPhone 8, which this one here is iCloud locked, and yeah, surprisingly the screen on this thing is in good condition, but has a little crack down here, but it is still cracked on the back. So yeah, this phone is iCloud locked. Next up, we have is the iPhone 8 Plus, 256 gigabyte. Also, yes, the 8 is 256 gigabyte as well. Fully working with no issues. Battery health is 83, I believe. This one's 87. All right. Next up, we have is the iPhone 10. Now, this one I got it for around Christmas time, except the screen on this thing had a really bad aftermarket screen, to where when I hold it like this, the screen would fall off, and it eventually did, to the point where, it eventually did to the point where the screen actually came off, and yeah, this one here is sitting for parts, because I do plan to get this phone fixed, and yeah, also the Face ID on this phone originally didn't work, and yeah, so this one is not, so unfortunately this phone won't have Face ID or True Tone, but it'll still work once in this new screen. Next up we have is the iPhone XR, fully working with no, this thing here fully works with no issues. Now this one here is my sister's old phone, and yeah, the battery health on this one is 79, because this phone has been around for a long time. Next up we have the iPhone 11 Pro, 512 gigs gold. Works fully good with no issues. Fun fact, this case I have on it has been through a lot of stuff. I think this case I have on here was originally from my friend's old 11 Pro, but he gave it to me along with an iPod Touch first gen, I believe. But yeah, this case has been through a lot. I even made this phone while I was in China. Really not. Overall, I would say the 11 Pro is still a really nice phone in 2025, even though this phone is about to be 6 years old, like this year. Next up, you have the iPhone 12 mini. Now this phone here is originally my old phone, but then I let my sister use this for a while because her 10R was having issues, and yeah, and then like last month she upgraded to the 16, and then I got this 12 mini back. Yeah, it works fully good with no issues. And yeah, the battery health on this one is at 76. It was originally at 86 for a long time when I mained it, but now it's at like 76. So the battery on this thing is like pretty bad. Next up we have is a iPhone 12 Pro Max. Now this phone here is broken, because this phone here is, this phone here, my friend gave it to me for like smashing. Oh. Wait a minute, did it just? You guys saw the lineup here, so from that. But yeah, this phone. So yeah, this phone is like cracked on the back and has a damaged OLED. This phone is gonna be smashed. This is a 12 Pro Max. And yeah, the OLED on this part is like damaged, as you can see from the white line that appeared. And yeah, except for my on as well. Fun fact, it was only the passcode lock, but I tried to restore this phone, but it keeps giving me errors to the point that it keeps like giving me errors. So this phone is currently stuck in recovery mode right now, but it will still eventually be smashed. It kind of sucks that this phone have to be smashed, because the iPhone 12 Pro Max, because I feel like the iPhone 12 Pro Max is still like a modern smartphone nowadays, even like the 11 Pro Max, but even like the 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max, but this phone is a smashing phone but this one is kind of a smashing phone, so maybe when I hit 5K subs, I could smash this for a video. Next up, we have the iPhone 13 mini. Oh, whoops. Next up, we have the iPhone 13 mini here. Now, this phone here is 256GB blue, works fully good with no issues, and it is currently on iOS. And currently have 88% battery health for this one. That was a notification. Next up, we have is a iPhone SE 3, 3rd gen. This phone here works fully good with no issues. Fun fact, I got this thing on Mercari for Christmas around Hey, what was that again? I got this thing on Mercari for around $80 something for Christmas, and it is in almost brand new condition. Also, this phone actually still has warranty until Christmas of next year. So yeah, that's actually pretty amazing. And it's in a midnight black color, which is nice. I feel the SE3 nowadays is still a pretty nice phone. So yeah. Also, yes, the phone I'm recording on, I did show you earlier, it's the phone I'm currently recording on is an iPhone. Oh, you can see it through here. Through my switch reflection is a iPhone 13 Pro, 256GB silver color and 87% battery health. So yeah, this one has 100 and still has Apple warranty. Pretty nice. I think this one was oh yeah, also this one's on Straight Talk. And the next up, you have the iPhone 14, 128GB yellow color. Works fully good with no issues. And next up, we have also I got this thing like summer of last year. And then we have, the next up we have is a iPhone 16. Now this one I got yesterday. It's a 256GB black. Works fully good with no issues, and also yeah, fun fact, the SE3, the 14, and the 16 that I currently have right now, I got them all brand new, except this one's on Straight Talk, and this one I got for a really good deal that is like almost in brand new condition that has warranty. This one I got summer of last year, and this one I got recently. This is one I got here. This one I got yesterday on my birthday, and yeah. But yeah, yesterday was my birthday. So yeah, overall the 16 is a really nice phone, and it's still pretty fast and can do basically everything. I actually really like the features that is on the 16. And yeah. Next up we have is okay, so I think that's pretty much all the iPhones out of the way. Yeah, that did took me 30 plus minutes to do all of this, but I mean, I'll still edit after this. Alright, so All right, so I think we're on to like the Samsungs, and then we're on to like the these, and then so for the Samsung. So first up, we have the Galaxy S3, works fully good with no issues. This one's in good condition. Next up, we have the Galaxy S4, also in good condition, but the back has no logo on it, which kind of but it works. I don't really mind it really, because I've had a Galaxy S5 with a wrong carrier back cover before, and yeah. Next up, we have so both of these are on Verizon. Next up, we have a Galaxy S5, works fully good with no issues. This one's on Sprint. And next up, we have the Galaxy S6, works fully good with no issues. This one's also on Sprint. Next up, we have the Galaxy S7, works fully good with no issues. Next up, we have a Galaxy S7 Edge. This phone here works fully good with no issues as well. And it's in this nice coral blue color. And now we're on to like the Note series, because I don't have any S8 and above for the Samsung. So next up we have the Galaxy Note 1, works fully good with no issues. Next up we have the Galaxy Note 3, works fully good with no issues. And the next up we have the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. Now, the reason why the back cover is not on here is because I cracked the back cover on here like a couple of weeks ago while I was at the park. And I brought this to the park with me just to like take pictures on it and stuff, but I dropped the phone. I think it was about to rain to the point that I had to like rush to find a shelter, but then I dropped this phone. I think the phone is still okay. Also, fun fact: when I dropped this phone, the bottom part down here started to like flicker green for like a split second, then goes away. It's not really doing it anymore, but it was doing it when I dropped it. So, and then I was like, oh shoot, OLED damage. But recently, since it's already been like a couple of weeks and stuff, the phone is like back to normal and works really good. Yeah. Next up, we have a Xiaomi Redmi phone. Now, this phone here is also pretty special, because this phone here is my grandma's old phone. Now, one thing that I know it's kind of a cheap Redmi phone, but the thing that sucks about this is that the charging port on this phone like stopped working, and before that it was like working fine, and I was like using this to listen to music and something, which sucks. Which sucks, because this phone was working when I first got it from my grandparents, but I think but then like the charging port on it died on me, which really sucks, but oh well. I mean, the phone is in good condition besides those scratches, so Next up we have a LG V40. Now this phone here works fully good with no issues. It does have some cracks along the screen, but it works. And the back as well. Next up we have a Nokia Lumia Windows phone. Now this phone here actually does work. This phone here works good with no issues. It has this case on here. Also, fun fact, I had a case like this for a Galaxy J3 2016 before, and this case here is like really cool, as you can see. I had a similar case like this for a Galaxy J3 2016 before. Next up we have this Moto something, I guess. It's in good condition, but it wouldn't like boot properly. Next up, we have a Moto X4. Now, this phone works fully good with no issues. Next up, we have a Moto G Power 2021. Works fully good with no issues. This one was from the Target bin, I remember. So, the battery on this thing is originally swollen, but after over times of me actually using the phone, the swollen part started to go away, but the back is still easily likely to come off. Honestly, I guess I can still get like a glue and then just glue the back on. but maybe it's still best to replace the battery for this. I could try that in the future. And the next up we have is a Sky device phone, which it's originally like Google locked, but I managed to bypass the phone by watching a video, and yeah. Okay guys, so now we're on to like the iPods. So first up we have the iPod Touch 1st Gen. It works fully good with no issues. And the reason why I put Miku on here is because the background of this thing is completely scratched. Like you can't really see the iPod logo on this thing anymore, so yeah, and I just put that as like a decoration on there. It does work and it's also jailbroken, so that's pretty cool. I got this thing with the case I have on my 11 Pro from my friend, the great gamer. Next up we have is another iPod Touch 1st Gen. Now this one here I got it in like a lot, and this one here has like a bunch of old apps on here and stuff, and pretty cool. Next up we have this iPod Touch 1st Gen. Now this one here should just get stuck in a boot loop when I plug into the charger, then shuts off when I unplug it from the charger, so yeah. Next up we have is a iPod Touch 2nd Gen. 8GB, works fully good with no issues. Next up we have is another iPod Touch 2nd Gen, works fully good with no issues. This one's 32 gigs, and then we have another 8GB iPod Touch 2nd Gen, works fully good. Yeah, a lot of these are stone dead. And then we have this one here, which shows no signs of power when plugged in, so yeah. Next up we have is a iPod Touch 4th Gen, 16GB, works fully good with no issues. Well, actually this one has dead pixels on there, but it doesn't affect the function of this. Next up we have is another iPod Touch 4th Gen. Now this one here is 32GB, works fully good with no issues. Actually this one has like a bunch of old apps and stuff. And then we have a white one, and then we have a white iPod Touch 4th Gen, 32GB. Works fully good with no issues and has this case. This one's actually my main iPod Touch 4th Gen. And yeah, it works. Just stone dead at this point. Sorry for the camera shaking. Next up we have is the iPod Touch 5th Gen. Now this iPod here is 64GB pink. It's in this like nice looking glittery case, and yeah, the reason why I bought this case is because I've seen like a lot of people that actually have these cases on their phone, and yeah, I like this case. Next up we have is a pink iPod Touch 6th Gen, 16GB, works fully good with no issues. And then we have another iPod Touch 6th Gen, blue, 32GB with the screen protector that's on it. But yeah, it works. It works. Next up we have is a iPod Touch 7th Gen, 32GB gold. Works fully good with no issues. Fun fact, I actually got this iPod brand new before Apple stopped selling these, so that's pretty cool. Next up we have is this Metro PCS phone. It works. I think I found this in the Target bin last year. This one I found in the Target bin last year. Next up we have is this phone. This one I got it from like some untested lot. It works. Now, next up we have is this Azuix phone. This one is one of my grandparents' old phones, but it works. Actually no. It doesn't have a battery in there. I couldn't find a battery for this phone even while doing research, so that is unfortunate. So that's yeah. But it's still pretty cool. Next up we have is a Samsung Chinese flip phone. Now this one here is my this one here is my grandma's old phone, and this one here is my grandpa's old phone. A Chinese Samsung flip phone. This one originally did not have a battery, but I managed to like buy a battery for this thing, and it actually works. So that's nice. Next up we have this flip phone. this flip phone I found in a Target bin and it also works. And then next up we have two Nokia 6030s. Now both of these work, but have like lock codes, security lock codes on them, and I don't think there's like a way to like bypass the security lock codes on here. All right, so now we're on to the Apple Watches. So my Apple Watches has grown compared to the last time when I did like a phone collection video. So first up we have is a Apple Watch Series 3. I think it's dead right now. Fully works with no issues. It's a 42 millimeters and have this pink band on them. Oh wait, this one actually has charge. So next up we have is a Apple Watch Series 6. Product red. This Apple Watch is in good condition besides some little bit of some like scratches or scrape. But this watch here is unfortunately iCloud locked, which sucks. But Also another thing about this Apple Watch Series 6 is that it has a fault. It also has like a faulty tap-tech engine on it. I can actually feel it when I got this Apple Watch. Wait a minute, is it trying to turn on? I can actually feel the tap-tech engine on this thing being faulty. But yeah, but this watch is iCloud locked. The next up we have the Apple Watch SE first gen. By the way, this one's 40 millimeters and this one's also 40 millimeters. This one here actually fully works with no issues. This one's my first Apple Watch that I've been using since 2022. But yeah. But recently, I'm starting to use my Series 3 more because my Series 3 is a little bit bigger because my Series 3 is like 32 millimeters. And yeah. Next up we have is like these watches. So I think these are like some like, okay, these are like non-smart watches but still a watch. Now this one here is a Minecraft watch, and then we have this watch is still is pretty cool, as you can see. These two watches I got it from China, and this one, and this Minecraft looking watch I got it like at some mall. All right, iPad. So yeah. Also, if you're wondering why is this video going this long, well, that is because. Well, that's because my phone collection has actually changed compared to the last time I did one of these collection videos. So, yeah. So first up, we have is a iPad 2, 16 gigabyte, works fully good with no issues, black. Next up, we have another iPad 2, but white, 16 gigabyte, works fully good with no issues. I believe this one is dead. Next up, we have is a iPad 3, works fully good with no issues. Oh wow, I still have TikTok on them, even though you can't download TikTok on the App Store anymore. Wait, hold on. So yeah, here's the iPad, and there's TikTok. Alright, next up we have is the iPad 4, 16 gigabyte, works fully good with no issues. Next up we have is a iPad mini 2, 16 gigabyte, works fully good with no issues. Oh my god, it still has charge? What? Next up we have is another iPad mini 2. I believe this one's also 16 gigs. Okay, this one here is dead, but it works. Next up we have is another iPad mini 2. Now this one's also 16 gigs. Has a screen protector on here. Okay, so one of the iPad mini 2s, the white ones I have or silver ones I have are from a Target bin where where I believe the other two are like, I have are like iOS 8 or 9. But yeah, it's about to die, so. Yeah, but this one here works. Oh yeah, I think one of my iPad Mini 2s were, I remember one is on iOS 8, one is on iOS 9. I had to like update them to iOS 12 because I kind of messed something up on them, like, I don't know. But yeah, one of them. Okay, so I believe this one here is iOS 8 one because I can tell from the home button. This one because this one keeps like spamming me with iCloud and stuff, and that's why I had to like restore it to iOS 12. And this one here is from the Target bin. I find a Target bin. I did swap the cases around because this case originally came on the Mini 3. All right, next up here we have another iPad Mini 2, but this one here is Space Gray. This one here I found it in the. Wait, this one here I had since 2022. This one here was my main iPad Mini 2. It works fully good with no issues. Next up, we have the iPad Mini 3 here. This one here works, but it is iCloud locked and has some LCD damage and has some LCD damage. That sucks, but oh well. Next up, we have the iPad Mini 4. Now this one here is 128 gigabyte. It works fully good with no issues. Yeah, it's currently dead right now. And next up we have is the iPad Air 2, 128 gigabyte. Works fully good with no issues. Yeah, a lot of these are dead right now. Next up we have is the iPad 6th Gen. It works fully good with no issues. Oh my god, this one actually have charge? Okay, we're almost there, guys. And then next up we have the iPad 9th Gen. So 256 gigabyte. And then next up is my main iPad, which is the iPad 10th Gen, 256 gigabyte. Hold on, let me get these out of the way, notifications. It works fully good with no issues. And yeah, blue. Wait, 6%? I think this iPad died on me. Okay, I'm not gonna let it do its thing before it spams. And then next up we have the Nintendo Switch. So this is pretty much all my collection. Actually, there's like a few more things I want to show off before this video ends. So, alright, so in this room here we have are my laptops. So first up we have the MacBook Air 2015 11-inch. It works fully good, but the battery on this thing is getting kind of bad. Like it's like dead at the moment, but it works. I hope it didn't. Next up we have is a MacBook Air 2017. It's actually patched to Sonoma, but I updated to Sequoia, and the MacBook got kind of unusable. But I can still use it with Windows because I have it running Windows. A MacBook Air 2017 13-inch, and then last up is my Evo. Is that how you say this? Or something PC that I use for gaming and other stuff. So this is it for my device collection video of. So this is it for my device collection of February 2025. Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.